and co-chancellors.
महाकाय सूर्यकोटि
With this lab, we'll be having our dignitaries will be coming on stage, proceeding forward. Once again, can we have a huge round of applause for our dignitaries as we grace the stage? Thank you once again. Utmost honor. Ladies and gentlemen, now to formally welcome our distinguished guests, we now invite the chairman of the National Stock Exchange, Shri Injeti Srinivas. Let's give a huge round of applause for sir, please. Very warm welcome.
Shri Govind Pandey, chairperson of SEBI, Shri Gurumurthy, a thought leader and independent director of Reserve Bank of India, Shri Ashish Chauhan, MD and CEO of NSE, and Shri Anirudh, MD of NSE Indices. It's indeed both an honor and privilege to deliver this welcome address and to both Shri Govind Pandey and Shri Gurumurthy. We are very grateful that both of them have found time to grace this occasion. We are all here today to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Nifty 50. What started 3 decades ago as a scientifically derived benchmark of the health been accepted as a synonym to India's performance, economic performance and growth potential. It's also accepted as a global benchmark for measuring performance. How it has built the trust, the confidence and the reliability. Just when NSE was an infant, NSE came, Nifty 50 was established in 1996. At that time, the capital market was still at a very nascent stage and the whole market cap would have been a few lakh crores, and Nifty 50 accounted for about 40 to 50% of that, I'd say 1.5 lakh crore of rupees. And today it is beyond or over 200 lakh crores. Now, this growth is clearly reflective of the trust and confidence it has been able to generate. The most important thing is it's a dynamic index. It keeps changing as the character of our economy and structure of our economy changes. So what started initially with more traditional industries is today reflective of the change we have seen in this country post-economic liberalization. Today it is dominated more by technology companies. I consider banks also technology companies, and technology companies are technology companies. So if you really look at, of course, there are certain companies which are there then and they are now also. So they are always there. But it is reflective of that structural change. It is now being accepted and tracked by many mutual funds where they have the index funds, by exchange trade funds. It's become a sort of a market indicator, a market pulse. Over the last 30 years, it has gone up and down, but it has endured all the fluctuations and its overall trajectory is only upwards. So that's very important, that market is very reactive, but if your fundamentals are strong, then there's nothing to worry. Regardless of whatever turbulence is there in the external environment, like we are facing some turbulence now also, and we find that it is immediately reflecting on the market. It's very important that the underlying companies, though we have 50 companies, I would say the larger ecosystem also we'll have to celebrate. These 50 companies are the face of Indian corporate sector, but there are so many other companies, a few thousands, all of them are contributing towards this growth and this journey. I would not drag my address. It was just supposed to be a welcome address, and we are all eagerly waiting to hear Mr. Pandey and Mr. Gurumurthy. But what I would say is that our vision, which the Prime Minister has said, of Viksit Bharat, will again be highly dependent upon NSE as an institution and these economic indicators, which build the trust, the confidence, the resilience, the reliability. And I think it's very clear that again NSE as a technology company, it's again maybe a trading platform, but if you look at it very deeply, it's again a technology company. It has basically symbolized the transformation from a floor-based trading to a screen-based trading, and then you see how many features are there. Nationwide participation has become possible. All this is possible because of the digitalization. And we talk about a digital economy today, but its origins can be traced to 30 years back when we had this digital platform as a trading platform and no floor-based trading and demat, the dematerialization of shares. So I think the story began there, and now we'll move on. I'm sure the new trends of artificial intelligence and so the way things are changing, the way technology is getting redefined, all of this also will be captured in the Nifty 50 because the composition is dynamic and it will always be hopefully moving upward and supporting the growth ambitions of this country by enabling capital formation, good price discovery and efficient allocation of capital. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for addressing this August gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, now we'll be having a look at a couple of videos that's being played to do this wonderful, occasion some justice. We have it with us the videos of NSE Nifty 50 video, as well as it will be followed by testimonial video of Nifty 50 companies and market participants. Let's have a look.
We're in the midst of a quiet revolution, a world of manual trade, physical certificates, and significant information asymmetry. It was a market built on legacy rather than logic. India was ready to grow, but its financial infrastructure was a bottleneck. 1992 changed the stakes forever. Economization kicked the doors open. Suddenly, the world's eyes were on India. But you can't build a modern economy on interest alone. The markets needed a financial soul, an unbiased scientific benchmark, and with a stopgap arrangement. The NSE 100 existing indices were not trustworthy. The derivatives market required a new index, which was both which has been designed for use in financial products. An index committee was formed, bringing together the nation's premier academic minds and economists. Their task? To not just create a list of companies for us, but to create a methodology for index creation and maintenance. Around 10 trillion floating point calculations later, we were ready to talk about the new, thought to be reliably available. And the gains in terms of hedging effectiveness obtained by going beyond 50 securities were known to be quite minimal. In 1996, the Nifty 50 was born. It wasn't just a ticker or tracker. It was meant to be the financial soul of India's capital markets. Designed with massive ambitions, with a launch market cap of 1,68,480 crore rupees, built to be the definitive measure of a rising nation's economic leadership. Through selection of stocks based on a transparent framework, leaving no scope for human discretion, the Nifty 50 became India's market benchmark to trust in. These 11 companies have been a constant in the index since inception. The Nifty 50 currently has exposure to 15 sectors. The weights of sectors have changed over time due to evolving market dynamics. This evolving sectoral composition mirrors India's growth story. A new era for the Nifty 50 was launched in 2000 with the index derivatives based on Nifty 50, adding a further layer of risk management and market sophistication. Over the years, the Nifty 50 became the backbone of India's futures and options market and a trusted indicator for global investors. The Nifty 50 has witnessed major global and domestic shifts over the years. Through volatility and resilience, the index has evolved. Since inception, Nifty 50 Total Return Index has delivered a 12.79% CAGR. From a total market cap of 1,68,480 crores at launch, the Nifty 50 has grown to a market cap of 201 lakh crore rupees as of February 2026. Alongside this rise, the National Stock Exchange has grown in its own right, from a total market cap of 4,1,459 crores rupees in March 1996 to approximately 462 lakh crore rupees in February 2026. As of December 2025, 46 domestic passive funds, 21 ETF and 25 index funds track this index with a total AUM of approximately 5 trillion rupees, joined by 23 international funds with a total AUM of US dollars approximately 3.9 billion. This highlights the Nifty 50's acceptance as a preferred benchmark in the Indian equity market. By August 1st, 2024, the Nifty 50 crossed the 25,000 mark and further peaked at 25,938 in December 2025. The journey of Nifty 50 is the journey of India. For 30 years, it has matched the energy and ambition of a rising India, enabling the dreams of 1.4 billion people, and the journey continues. Nifty 50, an investment called India.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be playing the testimonial video of Nifty 50 companies and market participants. Let's have a look.
Congratulations to the National Stock Exchange and NSE indices on completing and marking the occasion of 30 years of the Nifty 50 index. I think the Nifty 50 is not merely the pulse of the nation, it tells the story of markets, it describes the journey of its businesses and entrepreneurs who make up that market, and at the same time it serves as a temperature check and pulse. I think today the family of NSE indices covers every aspect of the Indian market, be it by market cap, be it by factors, and provides investors with an excellent set of tools with which they can judge how the market is evolving, and they can also use it for their capital allocation decisions. We at UTI Mutual Fund are proud to have partnered with NSE indices. Our Nifty 50 Index Fund, which is the oldest in its category, celebrated 25 years of its existence last year, and we look forward to a continued journey along with NSE indices and the Nifty 50 to tell the story of India and to be the narrator of the journey to a Viksit Bharat. Thank you and best wishes to all of you.
Hearty congratulations to the National Stock Exchange on completing 30 remarkable years of Nifty 50. Over the past 3 decades, Nifty 50 has grown from a benchmark index into a defining pillar of India's capital markets. It stands today not only as the country's most tracked index, but also as a global reference point, reflecting India's strength, resilience, and evolving leadership of India's foremost companies. Beyond measuring markets, the Nifty 50 has quietly shaped the investment landscape, enabling transparent price discovery and supporting the growth of mutual funds, index strategies, ETFs, derivatives, and increasing global participation. In doing so, it has contributed meaningfully to deepening investor confidence and broadening market participation. Warm wishes to the entire NSE team on this important milestone. Your commitment over the years has helped build an institution that truly mirrors India's growth aspirations. I wish you continued success as you scale new milestones in the years ahead. Thank you. God bless you.
Heartiest congratulations on 30 remarkable years of the Nifty 50, a milestone that is not just about longevity, but also about leadership in shaping India's capital markets and enabling the wealth creation journey for millions. Launched in 1996 by the National Stock Exchange of India, the Nifty 50 has come to represent far more than an index. It is a barometer of India's economic momentum, a reflection of corporate discipline, and a powerful signal of the country's growing global relevance. Over the last 3 decades, it's tracked the aspirations and performance of India's most influential enterprises, mirroring our evolution into one of the world's most dynamic and resilient economies. Through cycles of volatility, global disruptions, technological shifts, and reform-led transitions, the index has demonstrated both strength and adaptability. It has provided institutions with a credible benchmark, investors with confidence, and entrepreneurs with inspiration. In many ways, the Nifty 50's journey runs parallel to the story of modern India. Ambitious, reform-oriented, and forward-looking. We take particular pride in celebrating this milestone with Kotak Mahindra Bank being part of the index. Our inclusion reflects a shared commitment to performance, governance, and long-term value creation. It is an honor and equally a responsibility to stand alongside India's leading companies. That responsibility strengthens our resolve to innovate continuously, uphold the highest standards of stewardship, and remain deeply customer-centric in our growth. As we mark 3 decades of this iconic benchmark, we also acknowledge the foresight of regulators, the integrity of market institutions, and the trust of investors who have together built a transparent and vibrant ecosystem. 30 years is a moment to celebrate. It is also a reminder that India's capital markets are still early in their full potential. The next decade will demand scale, technology leadership, and global competitiveness. And I'm confident that our markets and the companies within them are ready. Here's to resilience, credibility, and enduring prosperity, and to the next chapter of India's growth story. Congratulations, and thank you so much.
Hello everyone, I am Hemant Kadel, Chief Financial Officer of Grasim Industries Limited, a Aditya Birla Group flagship company. I congratulate National Stock Exchange of India on the 30th anniversary of the Nifty 50 index. Over the past 3 decades, the Nifty 50 has evolved into a trusted benchmark for India's equity markets, reflecting the strength, resilience, and ambition of Indian industries. This milestone also marks an important chapter in India's capital market journey of deepening participation, strengthening transparency, and supporting long-term wealth creation for investors. At Grasim Industries, we are proud to be part of Nifty 50. For us, it is both a recognition of work done by our stakeholders and a reminder of the responsibility that comes with being among leading listed companies. Again, I congratulate NSE on this remarkable journey, and Grasim continues to look forward, continuing to contribute to India's growth story in the decades ahead. Thank you very much.
Many congratulations on completing 30 years of Nifty 50 index. The index has been a symbol of India's growth story, resilience, and aspirations. It's been a guiding compass for a lot of wealth creators and for wealth creation as well. As the index, it represents both challenge and opportunity. It inspires confidence among investors that markets are going to be regulated. If we follow a disciplined approach, there is a lot of scope that we will create wealth. It's been the benchmark that a lot of financial professionals follow, and in the past 30 years, it's only grown and evolved. As we move ahead in time, we would want to track the benchmark, which we do domestically and globally as well. So, wishing NSE continued success and empowering investors for the time ahead.
Those were some wonderful videos, encapsulating the journey of Nifty 50 index and its success. Ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, I'll be inviting our next speaker, economy versus a disparity and beginning his career as a chartered accountant. He became a close associate of Ramnath Goenka of the Indian Express. He played a very pivotal role in in India. He serves on the Central Board of the Reserve Bank of India as an independent director. His contributions continue to influence debates on governance, economics, and India-centric development. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to invite our distinguished guest of honor, Shri S. Gurumurthy. Let's give a roaring round of applause for him, please. Very warm welcome, sir.
Mr. Tuhin Pandey bringing me here. In fact, I chose to address the next session as the main session. I have been added here. So you have to bear with me for the next 10-12 minutes as to what I am going to put the market. Or that will decide after I complete my speech. And Mr. Aniruddha Chatterjee, and namaskaram to all of you. See, beginning as a corporate advisor and someone who has been looking at the entire business, financial, legal, stock market with a critical eye 40 years back. Now I look back and see the huge development that has taken place. In those days, manipulation of stock market was a day-to-day affair. Now it takes place once in 2 years or 3 years. That's the difference. But manipulations do take place, and no amount of regulation can handle this because the manipulation is at a totally different level. We all talk about market now. Market means financial market, and in finance have actually disappeared from the understanding of real economy. So I would like to place before you a debate which started with globalization, particularly with financial globalization, in the late 1990s. And in 2006 it was brought to the fore by Boston Consulting about the distinction between what we call as the market economy and market society. They said, for example, he compared the Anglo-Saxon economies and the rest of the Occidental Europe and said, the Occidental Europe is actually market economy, but these Anglo-Saxon economies are market societies. In fact, most people did not notice this difference at all till the 2008 crisis came. In the 2008 crisis only, this whole thing exploded. And unless we study the causes and the consequences of the 2008 crisis, we will not be able to understand how markets today are not really functioning on the basis of the real economy, and they do not reflect the real economic factors that go to make up what is known as the growth and development of a society. I'll just give you a small example. You know, from 1976 till today, America has run a current account deficit of $26 trillion. And it was continuously incurring current account deficits. In 2006, when the dollar was peaking as the most sought after and admired currency, today it is the most enforced currency. Trump says if you move away from dollar, this was never the dollar. Dollar was admired at that time. So a question came, how a country which keeps on running current account deficits, which according to the principles of economics must mean that its value, currency values must go down. The way it had incurred current account deficits, the dollar value must have become 1/3 of what it was in 1976, but it increased by 3 times, 3x. How is it? Two Howard economists, of course their names are very difficult to pronounce, so two Howard economists came out with a fantastic explanation. I don't think that has ever been studied in Indian economic schools. I have been addressing many economic schools, IIT management and other management institutes and Madras School of Economics. I don't think this has been studied. It is very necessary to study this. So the question posed to us, how is it that with continuously running current account deficit, instead of the dollar value falling, it is rising, not only rising, it is rising by 3x. So these two economists came out with this fantastic explanation that the American economy doesn't function on economic laws. It functions on the laws of physics. What are the laws of physics? The laws of physics says that the whole universe is held together by a dark matter. No one knows what is the dark matter, except that the dark matter is what sustains the universe. And so the universe of the global economy, global financial order, global stock markets are held together by the dark matter which is called America. That is the insurance that America provides for the financial investors into America. This was the simple explanation they gave. So America is not bound by the laws of economics. Only others are bound by the laws of economics. You must understand the difference between a country which decided at least actually the fate of the rest of the world economy, not subject to economic laws. This was tested in 2008. And when this crisis came in 2008, then people began inquiring into what is it that has brought about this crisis. And in 2009, the Economist magazine came out with a cover story which showed the macroeconomic textbook melting away. The entire macroeconomic theories which guided the world from 1992 particularly, in 2009, it was called the collapse of the macroeconomic theories, and the editorial said that economists were celebrated more than the politicians. If Alan Greenspan died, then we have to put a glass on dead body continues to be the US Federal Reserve Chief, and that is the importance of that man. That is how he was called the god of money. This was the extent to which the economists were trusted, and the Economist magazine pronounced the death of macroeconomics. And Paul Krugman, who got the Nobel Prize in 2009, and he said that much of the macroeconomic theories which were developed for the last 30 years were useless at best and harmful at worst. And economists began fighting like it was like a street fight. Then came the Economist with a beautiful cover story again. When the trillions of dollars were being pumped into the American economy, it was not rising. But the Asian economies were rising. And they particularly noted the Japanese economy, which is somewhat comparable to the Western economies in many senses. So they said, how is it that the Japanese economy is rising? And we have put trillions of dollars. The Japanese economy has that kind of money into the government, has not put that kind of money into the market, but it is rising. So the economist magazine came out with the answer that unlike the American economy, which is generally the Anglo-Saxon economies, the Japanese economy is only a market economy. It is not a market society. Market society means that everything is up for sale and buy. In fact, this is beautifully explained by a political philosopher of Harvard University. How the space in your forehead becomes place for advertisements. It can be a temporary place for advertisement, or you can put it permanently also, and for which the amount of money to be paid will change. It will be higher. If you want the telephone number of your doctor, mobile phone, you will have to pay X amount. If you can call him on a Saturday or Sunday, it has to be a higher amount. If you have to call him at midnight, it will be still higher amount. This is how the entire human society, its relation-based approach. There is no relation, there is no neighbor, there is no client. This entire thing getting transformed into complete transactions and price determination, as you call it, is market society. And all market societies are facing crisis today. It is only market economies which function with societies, which give space to human life, human behavior, human relationships. It is that which is not facing crisis. So there is a serious question about market societies becoming transactionalize the entire society. Its consequences are very dangerous, very dangerous. The intergenerational obligations of the American families were taken over in 1960 by universal social security. It yielded enormous amount of money into the social security system. Enormous amount of money into the social security system. Because there was baby booming in America. But from 2006, when the population stabilized and began declining, the withdrawals from the social security account became more than the deposits into it. It is $72 trillion, which is more than twice the GDP of America. It has replaced the intergenerational moral obligations of the people and transactionalized it. This is market society. So all of you are concerned not only with market, you are also concerned with the economy. Indian economic strength is not reflected in the market capitalization of India, or even in the day-to-day fluctuations of the Indian stock market, because the Indian stock market is driven by inflow and outflow of funds. It is not by the real strength of the Indian economy. So I think all of us will have to, because as India is rising and the whole world is in turmoil, what kind of consequences we will be exposed to? Ultimately, it is the society's strength that will decide the economy and not the day-to-day fluctuations in any market for that matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable insights with us. Can we have once again a huge round of applause, please? Share some wonderful, wonderful stories with us. Ladies and gentlemen, now it gives me immense pleasure to invite forward our chief guest, the chairman of SEBI, Shri Tuhin Kanta Pandey. Can we have a huge round of applause for him, please?
Shri Swaminathan Gurumurthy Ji, Independent Director RBI, Shri Injetti Srinivas, Chairman NSE, Shri Ashish Kumar Chauhan, MD and CEO NSE, Shri Anirudh Chatterjee, MD NSE Indices, distinguished guests, industry professionals, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. When I tried to open my iPad, there was a thud. It just slipped out of my hand and there was a thud. I think Mr. Gurumurthy created a thud in the gathering today. I can see the silence. So we are used to traditional way of deliberations, and for a while it felt it was an academic, thought-provokingly cajoling us to look at some different way that we look at market economies and market societies. So my first of all, huge congratulations to Mr. Gurumurthy to stir the whole audience into a bit of a silence and, doubting, whether all that indices we are talking about today are worth relevant. Really look at it, some other kind of indices which truly, reflect the market economies, as he calls it, and not market societies. But I will stick for a change to the traditional. As a regulator, I also have my limitations to not to really be so thought-provoking as to really make the markets wonder whether, I'm right fit for purpose for this job. So I will leave it for some other, I would say, confidential discussion. Further discussion on the matter. But today I want to say it's a pleasure to join you today as we celebrate 30 years of Nifty 50 Index. Reflect on a journey of institutions, markets and investors. Over the last 3 decades, Nifty has become one of the most widely tracked indicators of India's market. For investors, it's a benchmark. For market participants, reference point, India's capital markets. We are also meeting at a time when global markets are experiencing tremors of turbulence and volatility arising from Middle East war, choking off vital shipping lines and triggering oil and gas supply shocks, as well as price shocks. Like such developments. Yet, amid such uncertainties, India's domestic fundamentals have continued to remain strong, providing resilience. It's important not to panic at this moment, but to remain calm amidst the storm. The Nifty itself has navigated several such phases in the past 30 years. Periods of, yet over the long run, it has continued to reflect the strength and resilience of India's growth story. To appreciate the significance of the Nifty 50, it is useful to recall the period in which it emerged. The mid-1990s were a defining phase for India's financial markets. The country was in the early years of economic liberalization. Financial sector reforms were gaining momentum. Institutions were being built to support a more transparent and efficient market system. One of the most significant developments during that period was the establishment of National Stock Exchange itself. The NSE introduced a new paradigm to market infrastructure, technology-driven trading, nationwide access, transparent order matching, and modern risk management systems. It marked a decisive shift from traditional floor-based into a fully electronic market structure. It was in this context that the Nifty 50 index was launched in 1996, Designed as a transparent and rule-based benchmark, it represented leading companies across key sectors of the economy. Over time, the index grew alongside the broader transformation of India's securities market architecture. As India's economy expanded and diversified, the composition and performance of the Nifty reflected these changes. Over the last 3 decades, we have witnessed the rise of new industries and the expansion of existing ones, from information technology and financial services to telecommunications, consumption-driven businesses, and several new age sectors. The sectoral composition of the Nifty itself illustrates this transformation. When the index was launched in FY 96, sectors such as IT and communication services had virtually no presence in the index. Today, together, they account for about 13.5% of the Nifty's weight. The financial sector is expanded significantly, with its weight increasing from around 21% at the time of launch to about 38% as at end of February 2025. At the same time, growth of the broader market ecosystem has been equally remarkable. India today has over 140 million unique investors, reflecting a steady shift of household savings towards capital markets. The market capitalization of companies listed on NSE now exceeds 130% of GDP, compared with around 35% in FY 95. Individuals and domestic mutual funds together now hold about 36% of the free float market capitalization of Nifty 50 companies. The strength of India's market infrastructure has also played a vital role in this journey. Today, India's exchanges rank among the most active globally. Our markets host one of the largest number of listed companies, facilitate a very large number of IPOs each year, and account for one of the highest volumes of derivative contracts traded worldwide. India has also emerged as a major global market in terms of efficiency, with faster settlement cycles and shorter listing timelines. An important feature of our market ecosystem is that while initiatives such as common contract nodes, interoperability across exchanges, clearing corporations, and the creation of alternate trading arrangements reflect this collaborative approach. These developments reflect a deeper and more mature market ecosystem. While the Nifty was originally introduced as a benchmark index, its role has expanded considerably over time. Today, it serves as a central reference point for institutional investors, mutual funds, and portfolio managers. Since its inception, Nifty 50 has increased around 25-fold, delivering a compound annual growth rate of over 12%. More than 40 exchange-traded funds and index funds track the Nifty 50 index, providing investors with simple and cost-effective ways to participate in equity markets. Nifty 50 constituent companies today account for around 44% of the total market capitalization of all listed companies, highlighting their significance in India's corporate landscape. At the same time, derivative products based on the index have become important instruments for price discovery and risk management. These developments have transformed the Nifty from merely a measurement tool into a core component of the capital market ecosystem. Market growth of this nature requires strong institutions and a robust regulatory framework. Over the past 3 decades, India's securities market has two pillars. Regulatory frameworks have evolved continuously to support the expansion of markets while safeguarding their integrity. Key areas such as market surveillance systems, clearing and settlement mechanisms, and risk management practices have been strengthened over time. Our objective is clear, called MIIs. We have used governance guidelines to strengthen board oversight, including norms relating to the appointment of key directors and clearer reporting lines. We set up a high-level expert working group to develop a short-term and long-term strategic technology roadmap for the securities market ecosystem. Technology is increasingly to both market functioning and regulation. At SEBI, we are strengthening our supervisory capabilities through internally developed tools such as SEBI Sudarshan, a real-time scanner for surveillance of unauthorized digital activity, and SEBI of corporations must continue to invest in technology infrastructure, cyber resilience, and advanced risk management system. While today's occasion invites reflection on the past, it also encourages us to look ahead. India's economy is evolving rapidly. New sectors are emerging, driven by technology, digital innovation, advanced manufacturing, and the green transition. The next generation of companies that shape our markets may come from industries that are still at an early stage today. As India's economy continues to grow and integrate with global financial systems, our markets will also become larger and more complex. This will create new opportunities but also new responsibilities. In this evolving landscape, the role of regulators and market institutions becomes even more important. So as we celebrate 3 decades of Nifty 50, we are not just marking the history of an index. We are recognizing a broader journey, the journey of India's capital markets and institutions that support them. Over these 30 years, the Nifty has become a mirror of corporate India, a barometer of investor sentiment, and a compass for the direction of our markets. This journey has been made possible by the collective efforts of many stakeholders, exchanges, regulators, intermediaries, market institutions, and millions of investors. I congratulate all of them for contributing to the evolution of India's capital market. If the past decades were about building strong market foundations, the decades ahead will be about deepening participation, strengthening resilience, and expanding opportunities. And I'm confident that Nifty will continue to remain an important anchor in this journey. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.